Well, welcome everyone to this virtual preview for Reformed Evangelical Seminary. We're delighted to have you and hope that we'll be able to answer as many of your questions as possible as we run through some of the features of the seminary and ways that you may be able to connect to it, either as a student or a beneficiary of some of our programs and activities. Um, we're going to have several of our staff members introduce different aspects of the seminary. So um, let's get started with a basic overview of our mission and vision and some of the elements that we want to be sure that we're clarifying what the seminary is all about. Our mission is to assist the church in equipping pastors and leaders for orthodoxy and orthopraxy rooted in Reformed Catholicity. That basic statement highlights a couple of key things that we hope you'll appreciate throughout this presentation and also as a student or as a church member. Uh, we want the seminary to come alongside the church, not to uh, simply be an institution that stands apart from it and the church comes in and treats it as a consumer, but we want to actually be those who help the church by serving the needs of the church where it's located, serving its people where they're rooted, and helping them to develop the next generation of pastors and leaders. Obviously, we want to do that with a sense of faithfulness in the orthodoxy of the doctrine we teach, but also in the practices that we encourage, best practices of the church, and also those that are most effective and faithful for the kingdom. And then, of course, we're doing all of this with a sense of Reformed Catholicity. We want it to be usable for the church, regardless of your background or denominational affiliation. Our vision is to bring Reformed, experienced pastors and teachers, educators, alongside those congregations for robust training, biblical theological studies, and mentorship wherever our students live, work, or worship. So we want to be church centered and place based, and we'll repeat that theme several times throughout our presentation today. Just a quick history of the seminary. Uh, the first iteration of the seminary began back in 2021 when it was launched in Oregon City, Oregon, as Reformation Bible Institute. Pastor Bo Cogbill and I ended up discussing a number of elements about theological education. I was working overseas at the time and working to develop theological training there, and we shared ideas. And what emerged from that was a sort of redesign of RBI into Reformed Evangelical Seminary. We then had three founding churches, uh, the one in Oregon City, Trinity Reformed Church in Idaho, and All Saints Presbyterian Church in Texas become our founding churches, and then initially had seven uh, elected, appointed board members to serve as our founding group of directors. So we become incorporated, and the board asked me to serve as the organizing president beginning in 2023. That's the year our first classes began in early September with 20 students. We have since developed a number of programs, Church Partners Program and Church Enrichment courses that we'll talk about in a little bit. And then this last year, we started a Global Associates program to help with students in churches overseas to encourage them in the development of pastors and leaders. So this is our third year, and we are launching this coming spring the new Master of Christian Theology, which is a 45 credit degree program to go along with our Master of Divinity program. Our board members include Pastor Bo Cogbill, who's the chairman and pastor at Reformation Covenant Church in Oregon, Steve Jeffrey is the pastor at All Saints in Fort Worth, and Timothy Vandenbroek is a teaching elder at Trinity Reformed Church in Moscow, Idaho. That's our executive committee. The four elected term members are Dwayne Garner, Randy Booth, Joe Thacker, and Sebastian Smolorz. Great men pastoring churches in the CREC. And at the bottom of that list, you can see some of the men who were the founding elected term board members: Ralph Smith from Tokyo, Rob Hadding from Sulphur, Louisiana, and Virgil Hurt in Lynchburg, who you will meet shortly. The administration includes myself as president. I've put in here that we are going to be handing off the baton to Virgil Hurt. I'll be president until July when Virgil takes over, and I'll be retiring after that. CJ Bowen is our Director of Student Development, and Lauren Scheer is our Registrar and Bursar. And that's the core of our administration. We have a number of other people who help with various aspects of the academic and technical side of things, but that's our core administration. We'll let CJ take the degree programs from here.
Well, good evening to you all. We're glad for your interest in Reformed Evangelical Seminary, and I'm happy to talk with you a little bit about the programs that we have available. Just a note before I dive in, you should have a Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen or wherever your Zoom controls are. So if you have a question at any point, just feel free to type it into that Q&A box, and we'll do our best to get to it. Currently, RES has 2 degree programs: our flagship Master of Divinity, standard pastoral ministry degree. It's a 90-credit degree designed for pastors, for missionaries, for those in ordained church leadership. And launching now in the spring, we'll have this Master of Christian Theology, a 45-credit program designed for church leaders, elders, deacons, Christian school teachers, other teachers in the life of the church. So the degree requirements for the Master of Divinity are broken down into these major subject areas, and you can see the credits required there and the number of courses that are assigned: biblical languages, biblical studies, systematics, church history, Christian life, pastoral theology, counseling, and then a few spots for electives, as well as a capstone integrative project to help you tie your studies together at the end of the program. Typically, a Masters of Divinity takes place in residential life as a 3-year program, but on our pace, we're much more relaxed than that, allowing students to take 1 or 2 classes at a time. So sometimes the full program could take as many as 8 years as you find opportunity to pursue your studies. The new Masters of Christian Theology looks at the same subject matter concentrated under 3 major areas: biblical studies, systematic and historical theology, and then church studies or ecclesial wisdom. Broader scope for some electives there, as well as a capstone project to finish that out. So full-time study would allow you to finish this in approximately 2 years. Many of our students, as I mentioned, taking 1 or 2 classes per term, are looking closer to 4 to 5 years for the 45 credits in the Masters of Christian Theology. We do have some space and accommodation for non-matriculating students. These are students not signing up for one of those 2 degree programs, but simply seeking to take classes for credit, maybe helping them towards some form of meeting some criteria that their church or other organization may have for them to do, especially biblical languages or counseling. But really, our biblical and theological studies are open to this as well. So if that's something you're interested in, we do have several non-matriculating students who are taking part in our classes as well. Looking at the academic year, RES breaks the year up into 4 academic terms. 3 of those, Trinity term, Incarnation term, and Resurrection term, our fall, winter, and spring terms, consist of 10 weeks of classes followed by an 11th exam week, and then breaks in between. Our Pentecost term, the summer term, is double time, 5 weeks of intensive classes, followed by that 6th week for examinations. Then at the end of the summer, before we launch into the fall term, we have our jumpstart classes. These are orientation style classes, usually for languages, but also intro to academic research and writing and theological studies for those who are newer to this or whose academic skills have lain dormant for a while and are just getting back into their studies. And here's a few of our recent courses and the professors who've taught them. Steve Jeffrey's Facing Death course was offered as a church enrichment course as well and proved to be very popular. Sebastian Smolart's teaching Old Testament poetic and wisdom literature, counseling course from Mike Ruff, Gospels course with Tim Edwards, and then currently ongoing at the present moment, Christian Philosophy and Worldview with Dr. David Talcott, and Doctrine of the Christian Child with Reverend Dr. Robert Rayburn, a very popular class with our students studying an understudied topic in the life of the church. You can find a course description in our academic catalog, which contains descriptions for all of our regular courses, as well, not just those featured there. As Dr. Atwood mentioned at the beginning, we are church-centered, seeking to come alongside the church and leaving you in your home church, not wanting to uproot you from your own ministry context, but hoping to leave you planted there. Place-based, so where you are is the best place for you to pursue your ministerial education. We provide the teaching, the academic courses over Zoom, and we do our best to integrate those with ministry opportunities that are presenting themselves in the life of your own local church. One of the key ways that we seek to do that is by requiring all of our MDiv students to have a local pastoral mentor. The mentor ideally is your own pastor. We recognize that that's not an option in every case, but that's the best case scenario if your own pastor can serve as your mentor during your time at seminary. We're looking for someone who's served in pastoral ministry for a number of years and who's also known you as an individual and your family as well for 3 years or more. We want them to have a sense of who you are, to be familiar with you, so that as they come alongside you in your studies, they can be an encouragement to you. They can watch and see how you're growing and changing and being challenged through seminary education and provide that stabilizing wisdom to guide you along the way. Our goal for a mentor is that they would be theologically trained, ordained, and having ministered for 5 years. It's not a requirement that they are Reformed, but we do want them to be in basic agreement with creedal orthodoxy and the historic Reformed tradition more broadly. They don't have to be in the CREC. We love it when they are, but we don't limit it to that. We want men in pastoral ministry who are supportive of training men for the ministry and who are willing to work with us. What does a mentor do? Got some key descriptors there for you. Discipleship and encouragement. That's the main role of the mentor, to come alongside you for training and support and encouragement, to shepherd you through spiritual formation in ways that academic classwork just can't accomplish, especially from a distance over Zoom. Now, the main way that takes place is through unhurried, guided reflection. We require all of our students to be meeting regularly, and we've designed these to be lengthy meetings, an hour or more of intentional conversation on topics related to you and your life as a student, your personal spiritual formation and growth, and then interaction with the things that you're learning in your classes, and then opportunities for local ministry as well. We hope that through this mentoring relationship, if you've not already entered into certain aspects of ministry, you'll find those opportunities to maybe lead worship or to lead your church in prayer and eventually preach your first sermon and get direct and helpful feedback from someone who's there with you, someone who knows you and who's been walking alongside you. And we ask the mentors then to communicate with us. At the end of each term, we check in with them through a mentor form to see how you're doing so that they can encourage us with your progress and make sure that things are going well. Finally, a couple quick Q&A questions as it relates to mentoring. RES is able to help you find a mentor. If your own pastor is not able for whatever reason, reach out to me and we can work on that together. We have other pastors in the CREC, other local connections we often try to leverage, even if it's not your pastor, someone you know, someone as close to you geographically and physically as possible is ideal, but we're happy to help with that process. If you need to change your mentor, again, reach out to me. We've had several students go through various transitions that needed that, and that's certainly possible. And as I mentioned, your mentor doesn't have to be in the CREC, but should at least not be hostile to the Reformed faith. That makes for a good mentoring relationship. Talking a little bit about student life as a student. There's a picture there of our in-person class. We're delighted when we're able to do that. We had an intensive course offered at our annual retreat last year in Texas. To gather together in person is a wonderful thing. We rejoice in every opportunity to do that. But normal student life looks like a night or two, depending on how many classes you're taking, on Zoom each week, often for 2 hours at a time. The classes all take place through live Zoom meetings. We're not having you watch recorded lectures. We're wanting you to participate actively in your own education, face-to-face, iron sharpening iron with your instructor and with other students. We want you to be thoughtfully and critically, imaginatively, practically, and personally engaged with your teacher, with fellow students, and with the subject matter. So flipped classrooms and seminar style discussions are the bread and butter of what we do at RES. A typical week in the life of a student, 1 to 2 nights in classes weekly. Typically weeknights are when RES classes take place. Occasional Saturday classes sneak in there as well. Hour and a half to 2 hours on Zoom. Usually time for breaks in there as well. We realize that all of our students are juggling various responsibilities that they bring with them. They're not typically entering RES as a full-time commitment. They're adding RES to family, ministry, work, and other commitments. And so it has been the right sort of challenge for students to face the battle of prioritizing their time, of guarding their time for study, and of balancing the requirements of study with an active ministry and family life. We tell students to estimate 10 hours a week per class as a good rule of thumb for how much time you can expect to spend. Students find that this varies widely with their own reading speed, their own writing speed. Some students race through it at 5 or 6 hours. Others take 10 to 12 to even 15 hours to accomplish the work. Again, that's usually for each class per term. Expect about 10 hours a week in that. Although we rarely are able to meet in person, we do have regular interaction. We have Populi discussion boards. You'll learn a little bit more about our learning management software in a moment. There's an active Signal chat where our students get together and keep the conversation going that way. Our Capella meetings are a time for us to meet together for prayer and worship and conversation and discussion and teaching. You'll learn more about those as we go on as well. And then, as you saw that picture, our annual refresh retreat, that is our opportunity to gather in person, often around intensive class, but also with plenty of time for fellowship, relaxation, eating, talking, sharing life together in person. I'm going to now hand it over to Lauren Shearer to explain the various resources that we have that make our seminary work.
Thank you. I'm the registrar, and once you are on board, I'll be the person that's helping you through just the many technical aspects of life as a student, the academic calendar, registration, and those sorts of things. I want to briefly introduce you to our learning management software known as Populi. On this platform, you can do just about everything that you need to do here at the seminary. You can see an example of a student here. You have a degree audit where you can keep track of your progress as you go and look at the different classes. You also see that you can look at your schedule. All of your classes will be accessed through Populi, and you'll go into the virtual classroom that way. And then your financial, you'll be able to pay and keep track of that in addition to registration. So this is our one-stop shop for everything related to the seminary. Once you're in, you can everything will be there to work through. I also wanted to show you our library for students who are doing a lot of different reading or research for papers. We do have access to an online digital library through the Logos software, and you will get access to that as a student. It has a number of titles that you can look at here in the library. And then also related to writing papers, we offer a writing lab at RES if you're coming in with not as much writing experience. I'm going to have CJ briefly explain the writing lab.
Yes, for the past few terms, we're delighted to add this into our resources that we can offer to students. We have writing coaches who are standing by for our new students and for other students who are seeking to improve their writing. You'll reach out to the writing tutors with a paper a few weeks before it's due. Even when it's in its rough form, they'll be able to help and assist you with both the English language composition aspect as well as the Bible and theology aspect of the work that you're being asked to do. The men that we have are privileged to have serving as our writing tutors are highly qualified and skilled. They're editors, writing tutors in their professional lives, as well as offering this service to us. And they also have advanced degrees in Bible and theology, so they're going to be familiar with the content of the work that you're producing, not just the ins and outs of Chicago formatting style uh, and the niceties of English grammar. So this is a great service to help our students do well in their academic writing. We recognize that writing an academic paper and pastoral ministry sometimes can seem like two very different things, but the writing of these papers serves to sharpen our students in their ability to reason and think and also communicate clearly. And so we're glad to have the writing lab assist us in that work.
Okay, thanks, CJ. Just a couple of notes about some of the other aspects to life at the seminary. We have, as was mentioned earlier, uh, really two big events that happen on a regular basis. The first is our capella. These are our gatherings together on a quarterly basis to worship, pray together, reflect on different issues and topics. And we typically have invited guest speakers to present or to discuss various topics. So you see on the screen there's some of the more recent ones. We've done uh, ones on the law and the challenges of the Christian faith in the public square, uh, discussions about philosophy, about discipling young people, and Calvinism as a cultural force. Uh, all of these are an hour and a half long, typically on an evening or um, time that's most accessible to people. And Reverend Bowen is the one who typically leads that, and those are quite engaging and helpful. And they're not necessarily just more of the same thing of classroom study, but on topics and issues that we might not otherwise touch on within the curriculum per se. The other item or events that we hold are the refresh retreats. These we hold in typically June of each year. You see the three most recent here are back in 2024. We met on the beach at Oregon, hosted by the Reformation Covenant Church, which is one of our founding churches. And then last year we met at Fort Worth, and that was hosted by another founding church, the All Saints Presbyterian. And this next year, this coming summer, we will be meeting in Moscow, Idaho, and our founding church, Trinity Reformed Church, will be bringing our opportunity to gather together in their facilities and in the local area known as the Palouse. We're right on the border of the state of Washington and just south of Canada. So we're hoping that we'll have a good turnout for that. So now details about admissions.
Yes, many of you who are here tonight have already at least started an online application. So you know some of what that looks like. I wanted to go over briefly some of the most asked questions we get about an application. There are 4 attachments that we want you to submit with the application. In addition to details about your contact information, we'll want to know your church and your role at your church, if you are a congregant or if you're currently serving in a position at your church, a Sunday school teacher, a deacon. If you're applying for the MDiv, you'll also at that time want to name a mentor. And if you are having trouble identifying a mentor, as CJ mentioned earlier, you can reach out to us at that point and let us know, and we can talk about who might be a good fit for you as a mentor. And at the end of the application, we'll ask you for 4 documents. We'll want a recent photo of you so that we can get a look at your face. You're welcome to include family members in that if you want to show us your family. One of the key pieces of information that we'll need is a 3 to 5 paragraphs on your personal history, interests, and goals. Tell us who you are, how you got to where you are now, and why are you interested in the seminary. This helps us evaluate you as we look through this application. We'll also want a sample of your best writing. For many of you, it may have been years since you were last in school and had some academic writing, but give us some equivalent of that will show us your skill, your ability to put together a sentence, to think coherently, and to demonstrate some level of skill. If you have questions about what might count as a sample of writing, also feel free to reach out to us, and we can help you think through what you might already have that displays some of those skills that we're looking for, just to see that you're ready for seminary. It's a lot of writing involved in our classes, so we don't want you to get in and fall flat the first week, although we do have resources, like I said, like the writing lab. Give us your best shot. Then the last piece of information is the financial commitment statement. Just tell us how you intend to pay for seminary, so that we're aware of that. With your application, you'll also need to send to have a pastoral reference submitted. So nominate that reference. You'll put in their email, and they will get a separate email asking them to complete that reference form. You will then, it's always a good practice to remind your reference that they're about to get an email, so that there's no delay in that, because that can delay your application being processed as we wait for the reference before we send it to the admissions committee. Finally, we'll want to see a copy of your academic transcripts from past institutions. So you'll want to get onto their websites or your login of Student Portal and have them send official copies of transcripts to us so that we can review that. All right.
Okay.
For tuition and fees, with your, of course, you'll be telling us how you intend to pay for seminary, but here's a little peek into what it will cost. A sampling of fees here, pretty standard for any seminary. The application fee is $50. Once you enroll, there's an enrollment deposit that confirms acceptance of admission and will be applied to your commencement fee when you graduate. The library I mentioned, that's available to you, and there's a $100 a year library fee for access to that library. Every term there will be a technology fee, and then there are a couple of transaction fees for various things you might do. This is the sum of our fees for the seminary, so not too much. And then for tuition itself, $200 per credit. Most courses are 2-credit courses, so you can expect to pay about $400 a course during your time at the seminary. If you want to audit a course, that's a $100 flat fee for auditors. And then sometimes we offer listeners passes to certain courses, which is a step even down from auditing. You're just a listener. You're not engaged in the conversation, and that'll be $50. If you are a church partner, those fees get cut in half. So for church partners with the church partner discount, the credit number is slashed down to $100 per credit, which makes it $200 per class. And then for our enrichment courses, that goes down even more. Our church partner program is a way in which churches can support students and the seminary, and also benefit their own congregation through partnership with the seminary. Put simply, the church partners will pledge a certain amount each year, and the numbers you can see here on the screen are dependent on congregation size, so that it's not an undue burden on those smaller congregations. If your congregation is interested in joining, depending on their size, they're welcome to apply, and they'll pledge the amount. They will receive benefits such as free listeners passes to our quarterly church enrichment course. Our next one coming up in spring is an enrichment course on church safety and security, as one example. So we offer courses that will be of interest and benefit to congregations, and those are free for church partners. And then, of course, as a student belonging to a church partner congregation, you can receive that 50% tuition discount. So if you are interested, or you think your church may be interested in joining the partnership program, feel free to forward that information to your pastor and have them get in touch with us. We would be happy to talk about it. Now, if you are not within the United States and Canada, or outside, or these numbers are a little above you, we did launch, I think as was mentioned before, the Global Associates Program, and I'll have Dr. Atwood briefly walk us through that program.
Thanks, Lauren. So we recognize that even though for North American students, our tuition is roughly half or less than half the average seminary cost, it is still beyond the reach of most of the students worldwide. And so what we've created is a program to address that and help students who are in a completely different level of economy, as it were. So students that are coming from churches outside North America and the top 40 gross domestic product, GDP, we're committed to helping give you free access to the church enrichment courses. So that's free to you. And then to adjust tuition and fees on a regional basis. And so we'll show you in a chart in a second, but we're doing that to make it affordable according to the scale of your economy relative to the United States where we're based. So we can do that with a limited number of qualified students. And I want to stress this is basically a way to help and discount tuition for you, but it is limited, and it has to be something that we can accommodate within our own budget and our own time frame for our budgeting purposes. So we ask that students that are going to want to try to get access to that discount need to be admitted before June 1st to be considered for that regional discount. So that's something we can talk with you, share with you further if you have questions about that, but do recognize that we need to make that decision by June 1st. So we cannot dally on that, and it's a once a year process. The associates regionally adjusted rates, as this schedule basically gives you a rough idea, is that students from, say, China, Latin America, India, Africa, if your global GDP level is like 5%, 1%, China's 25% of the US, then the estimated annual fees and tuition would be in these ranges that are shown here. So this is simply an illustration. These are not the hard numbers. We would look at it in terms of your own country and your GDP relative to the United States. But you can see the substantial discount that would be for anyone coming from those countries that are outside the top 40 GDP. So, questions and some of the common questions that we get. CJ, you want to guide this for us?
Sure. Yes, many of our questions have to do with academic preparedness and demonstrating that. We accept transcripts. We expect students to come with a bachelor's degree before they apply. That's not been the case in every situation. And so we're happy to review your background and make a determination based on that. So if you have other considerations, please feel free to reach out to us on that, especially for our older students, mid 30s and above, who don't have that bachelor's degree. There is a possibility for an application to succeed, and we're happy to talk more for you about that. Other questions just have to do with the workload. And again, we try to make that a manageable thing. You can expect to be reading no more than 1,500 pages per course, and maybe writing about 15 pages worth of written work, often in terms of a major paper. Sometimes the assignments will be to write sermons. We do want to orient your education towards pastoral ministry, not further academic work. So we're not a graduate school trying to train up future professors, though if God blesses you in that direction, praise God. Our goal is to raise up pastors and ministers. And so we do try to orient our instruction and the assignments that come with it towards pastoral ministry. At the same time, we want it to be a rigorous work that you're doing in excellence and faithfulness. And so students have found it to be challenging. And we, again, provide various resources to help meet those challenges along the way. Again, we talked about the week in the life of a student. What does it look like? Typically, classes will start at 5 p.m. Pacific time, was where the seminary is located. So that's usually where we key off of that time frame. So classes will start 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Usually that's the latest start time, running for an hour or two. So hopefully we'll finish up by no later than 10 o'clock, which for a number of our students, especially those with families on the East Coast, fits right into the after dinner, put the kids to bed, come hop on Zoom and end their night with their classwork. We do have some Saturday classes, Saturday morning, especially when we have international instructors. We're delighted to have a number of highly qualified and skilled international instructors that we've been blessed to have teach regularly, and their time zone difference usually plants them in that Saturday morning slot. I mentioned before, one of the other questions has to do with the amount of time that it takes. If you're taking probably 2 courses a term, you can expect to complete an MDiv in about 6 to 7 years. And again, we'll have up to 8 to get the whole thing put together, and 4, maybe 5, depending again on your pace. And if you find yourself taking a term off, we do allow students to take a term off. We have a leave of absence policy. If you find life circumstances catch up with you, that's not a problem. We're happy for you to take 1 or 2 classes a term. We're currently offering an average of 3 2-credit classes per term, looking to increase that to 4, probably over the next year or so. We'll be able to regularly offer 3 and 4 classes a term. Again, many of our students aren't able to take classes at that pace, but for those who are, that's becoming more of a possibility. Those are some of the common questions we get. If you have others, feel free to drop those in the Q&A function there on Zoom, or if I've forgotten some of the common questions and others on our panel want to chime in, go ahead and remind me of the ones that I've forgotten.
TJ, I might just add one note with respect to the time. Because we have students overseas, sometimes the students in Africa or Europe will have a harder time on the schedule. And since all of our classes are recorded, there is a way for students to be able to uh, adjust the time in which they watch the class, and then it's important for them to then connect with the instructor and discuss with the other students through the other means that are available. But it is possible for students outside the North American time zones to still participate in the classes on a regular basis. Okay. There are no other questions. Let's look at the next steps then. And Lauren, you gonna
Yeah.
take that?
As I said before, some of you who are in the room tonight have already started your application, and you can reach out to us about any questions that you might have regarding how to complete that application. For those of you who are attending tonight, if you have not already submitted your application, we're happy to waive your application fee. If you apply before the deadline for spring term, which is February 21st, because you came tonight. And then we have lots of ways to get in touch with us. You can fill out the information form on our website. We have a booking page. We're happy to talk to you if you want to book an appointment with us. We are available for any questions that you might have after this seminar as well. So please reach out and get in touch as you continue this process, or even as you work on discerning whether you are called to this right now and if this is a good path forward for you. We're happy to talk you through those things. As you can see here at the bottom, a couple specific people that you can talk to for specific areas, but any of us you're welcome to reach out and make first contact with as well. And thank you for being here tonight to learn more as well.
Thank you to those who've joined us tonight. If you do have further questions, please do reach out. I have some book lists and sample syllabi. If you're interested in the details of any particular courses, I'm happy to communicate with you about that and give you access to the catalog, which explains more about the workings of the seminary, as well as the course descriptions for the standard courses that appear in our catalog. We're glad that you've joined us tonight for our virtual preview, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us.
Before we drop off, I see a question here from Gabriel. And we do transfer credits from other master's level institutions. It would depend on the institution and on the type of credits. But you're definitely welcome if you have a transcript that you think may be able to transfer to send over, and we'll take a look at it. That's a great question. Thank you. All right.
Thank you all for joining us, and God bless.
Good night.